Cape LeGrand is located about 50 kilometres southeast of Esperance in the southeast corner of Western Australia. The area was declared a national park in 1966, but European contact with the area goes much further back than this. The cape was named by French explorer Antoine Raymond Joseph Zabrouille Chevalier d'Entrecasteaux. Now, aren't we glad he didn't name the place after himself? We'll get back to the history of the place a little later in the video. Following the access road straight in, you'll come to LeGrand Beach. This is a wide sandy beach that stretches all the way back to Esperance, and when the tides are right, it's possible to drive a four-wheel drive vehicle back to Wylie Bay. There are 2 campsites in the park, and the first you encounter is at LeGrand Beach. You must pre-book sites here if you want to stay overnight, and there are both park entry fees and camping fees to pay. As this is a national park, pets are not allowed. Campfires are also prohibited at all times. Generators are allowed between the hours of 8 AM to 1 PM and 5 PM to 9 PM. The campsite tends to be quieter and less busy than the one at Lucky Bay, but the sites don't have a view of the water. There's an ablution block with showers and flushing toilets, and there's also a camp kitchen with a gas cooktop, barbecue and sink. There are 14 campsites here, but although you have to book ahead, it's not possible to select a specific site. You have to select from what's available when you arrive. This also applies to the campsite at Lucky Bay. Although the French explored the coast here and named many features, it was explorer Alexander Forrest who named Frenchman Peak. It was thought that the structure at the top resembled a French beret. There is a large cave high up, and it's easily visible. It might be hard to believe now, but it's thought that the cave was formed by wave action, back when sea levels were 300 metres higher than they are today, which was around 400 million years ago. There's a 3-kilometre walk trail leading up to the peak. The peak is 262 metres high, and the walk trail is classified as difficult. It takes about 2 hours one way. It's important not to try to take a shortcut and to stay on the path and follow the markers. Do not attempt the walk when it's raining or if there's strong wind. This trail is only recommended for very experienced and well-equipped walkers. Hellfire is regarded as one of the most beautiful bays in the park. It's ideal for swimming when the weather is fine, and it's a very popular place to take photographs. It's thought that the name originated with St Elmo's fire. This is a bluish electrical discharge that was sometimes observed occurring between the masts of sailing ships. In 1802, Matthew Flinders visited the area and was caught in a storm. He sought shelter near the offshore islands, but nothing suitable was found, so he sailed towards the mainland. A risky strategy, but he was able to find safe anchorage in a large bay that he subsequently named Lucky Bay. A little further along the coast, the British expedition found timber and water, and the cove was named after the man who had first sighted it, a Mr. Thistle. The second campsite in the park is located at Lucky Bay, and due to the stunning views, this is certainly the more popular of the two campsites. The facilities and rules here are the same as at LeGrand Beach, but the toilets are long drop instead of flushing. It is possible to drive on the beach here with a four-wheel drive. There are day use areas with barbecues, seats, tables, shelters and bins. There is a mob of kangaroos that call the area home, and they can often be seen relaxing on the beach or wandering through the campsite. During busier times of the year, you'll also find a food van parked on the beach, where you can buy drinks and snacks. Although the name LeGrand may appear to have come from the spectacular scenery, it was in fact named after a member of the French expedition, Citizen LeGrand. There can hardly have been a happier coincidence in the naming of a place in the history of exploration. The early explorers were followed by sealers and whalers, but the seal industry collapsed in 1840 due to the unrelenting slaughter. The land in this area has remained above sea level for at least 200 million years. Because it has remained relatively undisturbed for such a long time, many species found here are surviving remnants of ancient populations. Flora in the park includes banksias, melaleucas, grevilleas, sheoaks, Christmas trees and grass trees. Some of the more obvious fauna includes bandicoots, pygmy honey possums, ringtail possums, quenda and western grey kangaroos. I've seen many beaches around the world, but the coastline in this area is without peer. Sparkling clear water, clean white sand, huge granite rocks and sheltered bays make it quite the most beautiful stretch of coastline I've ever seen. Lucky Bay has in fact been declared as having the whitest sand in Australia. Rossiter Bay is accessed via an unsealed road. The bay was named after Captain Rossiter of the ship Mississippi. Edward John Eyre had just crossed the Nullarbor in 1841 and was suffering malnutrition and thirst when he stumbled upon the Mississippi anchored in the bay. Rossiter gave his assistance to Eyre, who named the bay after him in gratitude. Unfortunately, the bay here is often covered in rather deep seaweed.